Welcome to the world of Probiotic Foods. This is Cultured Food Life with your host, Donna Schwenk.
Hi, everybody. I am Donna, and I am your host who loves to talk about microbes. I love how they showed me how to keep me well, and I want to share that with you because it is so life-changing. Today's topic is one that I get a lot. We talk about it a lot. I get a lot of emails about it. And it's about antibiotics and what happens to you when you have to take an antibiotic. And there's a lot of good news about this. There's a lot of things that I can really help you with and kind of coach you on to help you understand how your body works. It's super cool. And we talk a lot about bad bacteria. Mostly people when they talk about bacteria, they're talking about bad bacteria. And antibiotics and antibacterial soaps are on the forefront all the time. Everybody's talking about it. And there's a lot of misunderstanding about how everything works. But in your body, 99% of the bacteria in your body is good or harmless. It's here keeping you well all the time. And we mostly think of it as a bad thing. But I'm here to tell you that it's like one of the greatest things in your life that's helping you. And when you can harness that power, it is an extraordinary thing that happens. You begin to learn things you never learned, and you begin to understand how to keep yourself well. And so today I want to talk to you about that, especially about antibiotics and what happens when you take them and how you can replenish your good bacteria. But before we get started, I want to tell you about Betty. Betty was new to the world of probiotic foods, and she had just started making and eating them when she found herself in a situation where she had to take an antibiotic for an infection. And she was someone who had come to my class, and she was really upset. She was almost in tears that she had to take this antibiotic and kill not only the bad bacteria that was making her sick, but the good bacteria too. And she was confused, she was conflicted, and she was really, really upset. So my friends, if you ever find yourself in this kind of situation, I'm going to tell you what I told Betty. And the very first thing I said to Betty was, Betty, do you think this antibiotic will get rid of your infection? And Betty said, yes, I do. But I also think it's going to mess up my gut long after, and I don't know if it'll recover. So then I said to her, well, what do you think will happen if you don't take the antibiotic? And Betty said, I'm afraid I'll get worse. So I told her, you have a super strong belief in this antibiotic, so you need to take it. And your body is so smart, Betty. It will recover, and I can help you. And there's nothing it can't do, and you don't need to be afraid. And we can help those good microbes stay in there, and you can become strong again. And so don't be afraid, because your body is a masterpiece. So let me explain something. The placebo effect, and if you don't know what that is, the placebo effect is when you are in a study or you take a drug thinking that it's medicine and it's actually just a sugar pill, but you get well anyway. And the placebo effect is at least 35% in all the researchers' studies that they do. And it's growing like crazy. Actually, the placebo effect is getting stronger and stronger. So people think that this pill they're taking is going to make them well, but it's not really it's just a sugar pill. And they get well anyway. So something inside of their body is making them well because they're not taking a drug. They have a belief in something. So Betty's ability to believe that antibiotic would help her was very strong. And so she needed to take that because without it, she would probably believe that she would be sick. And so we need to listen to ourselves and understand our own beliefs and honor them, and then still find ways to work with our body as well. Because your mind is a powerful thing, as well as the food you take, the medicines you take. And that was something I think we really need to understand about ourselves when we're sick. If we feel like the medicine's going to make us better, then we need to take it. But we also need to find ways to help the medicine and help our bodies be better. And for instance, probiotic means, the word pro means for, and biotic means life. So it's life promoting or for life, as opposed to an antibiotic, which is anti, which means against, and biotic means life. So it's against life. So when we hear those two things, they're at opposite ends of the spectrum. And one does one thing, one does the other. So I routinely talk to people about the members of what I call the trilogy, which is kefir, kombucha, and cultured vegetables. And each one of these foods, and they're all cultured probiotic foods, has specific things your body needs to help you change your life. But here is even more interesting things about this trio. If you have to take an antibiotic, this trio called the trilogy, kefir, kombucha, and cultured vegetables, can help you survive the collateral damage to the beneficial bacteria in your gut and speed you on your road back to wellness. And many people have benefited from taking antibiotic. And so I'm not against them. I think they have their place. I just think they've been overprescribed routinely. That can cause a lot of unforeseen damage that we don't understand because we can't really see what's going on inside of us. I wish we could, because there's so much to learn about how our bacteria helps us each and every day. And one of the things that is interesting about taking antibiotics is when you kill both the good and the bad bacteria, this leaves your body without its normal armor against pathogens, and especially what we call candida. And that's a yeast, a fungus that grows inside of us, and it has its rightful place in your body. It actually is important to have small amounts of it because it helps your digestive tract digest things like heavy metals, things that your normal digestive tract cannot handle. Candida helps the body to be able to digest it. So you need small amounts of it, but you don't need large amounts, and that's when you get into trouble. So when you take an antibiotic, you wipe out all the good and bad bacteria, and there's a lot of room in your gut where the good bacteria was housed. And so now there's all this room. And so candida takes over. It starts to spread and multiply and grow because it's got room to grow, where good bacteria keeps candida in check. And so when you take an antibiotic and you wipe it out, this can cause problems with candida because it wants to spread out and grow. But here's the good news. You can consume probiotic foods containing good bacteria even while you're taking an antibiotic. Some of them will be killed by the antibiotics, that's true, but not all of them. And if you consume what I call the trilogy, consuming probiotic foods before, during, and after your course of antibiotics, this will help you heal faster, allow your body to rebuild the gut flora more quickly than it would if you didn't have it, and slow down that chance of candida getting a foothold and starting to grow and multiply. And it's really interesting. There's some research that was done on how to take these foods. This was actually done on probiotics, on how to take them and how you could have the best chance of survival. And what they found was when subjects were taking antibiotics and were given a probiotic supplement, either 30 minutes before a meal or with a meal consisting of something like milk or oatmeal is what they used in this study, the beneficial bacteria survived in higher numbers as compared with supplements being given 30 minutes after a meal, which did not survive in high numbers. Probiotics like being attached to food. It works better than taking a supplement because it has a little protective halo around it because it's attached to the food, so it speeds to the parts of the body that's needed. When you just take a probiotic supplement, it just goes to the stomach acids, which can often is where it's designed to kill it. But when it's got food with it, it actually works better and it's much more effective. And so it's actually better to use cultured foods than it is probiotic supplements because they work better because they're attached to food. Consuming these cultured foods is the perfect way to repopulate your gut after or during while you're taking an antibiotic. And it'll allow as few of these microbes to be killed by the antibiotics that you're taking, since the food source is loaded with probiotics that you're eating. It just works really, really well. And cultured foods contain several probiotics that cannot be killed by antibiotics. One of them is Saccharomyces boulardii, which is found abundantly in kombucha. And kombucha is a fermented tea that's delicious that you can, I have it every day. I love it. You can buy it at the grocery store. I teach everybody to make it on my site because it's so easy to, to make yourself. It has a probiotic yeast in it, which is the Saccharomyces boulardii, and it works very effectively to keep those harmful bugs at bay, and also helps the antibiotics that are administered to survive, because you cannot kill that particular probiotic because it's a probiotic yeast. So it's very strong. It cannot be killed by heat or by the antibiotics because it's a probiotic yeast. But it's a fantastic probiotic. It does a lot of things in the body that is so helpful. It even kills off pathogens. It acts like a pathogen and attracts pathogens to it and then destroys them. It's quite impressive what it does, but it doesn't last in the body very long, but just a couple of days. So it's important that you have it often, and I would recommend having it every day if you can. And we're talking 4 to 16 ounces. Start out with smaller amounts in the beginning, or just a few ounces is great, but to try to build up to 16 ounces, because it's so powerful. It's a wonderful drink. It's bubbly. It's refreshing. I love it. I mean, there's different fruit flavor versions that you can try that you'd really like, but it's such a wonderful thing, not only for helping you repopulate your gut, but also for your liver. It helps your liver detoxify you, and it assists the liver in detoxification is how it works. It's a powerful drink, and it will greatly help you if you have to take an antibiotic. Another good probiotic strain that's resistant to antibiotics is found in cultured vegetables. Cultured vegetables are just vegetables that are submerged underwater and are fermented on your counter with a culture and some salt, and they make a special bacteria in them called Lactobacillus plantarum, and it's fabulous. It's a wonderful superstar bacteria. And there have been some studies that said it's resistant to most antibiotics. Not all of them, but quite a few. And it's one of my favorite bacterias. It is so powerful, especially if you've got any kind of sickness going on. And you just need a spoonful. Even if you just drank the juice of the cultured vegetables, you're going to get billions of probiotics, more than you would get in a whole entire supplement bottle. There's been a lot of studies that they've done, and it's such a strong bacteria. And it's also a transient bacteria like kombucha, the Saccharomyces boulardii that's in kombucha. And it's a transient bacteria, and so it means it doesn't stay in the body very often. So you need to have it every few days. But if you're taking an antibiotic, I highly recommend that you have some cultured vegetables every day. And I'm talking just a spoonful, because here's the deal. When you take an antibiotic, you can often have what they call a Herkimer reaction, which means as all this bad bacteria dies off, you're going to get toxins, and they give off toxins, but you're going to get kind of a die-off effect that makes you feel really lousy. And cultured vegetables will help speed that out of the body, and it will make a very pronounced difference if you take them. And it's also going to help you survive some of the onslaught of the antibiotic. And you don't need much, and they're easy to make. And I've got tons of recipe on my website at culturedfoodlife.com, and you can do just about any vegetable. And you just need to follow my recipe, which is super simple to make. And these vegetables will last 9 months in your fridge. So you'll have them there for you. It's not like you got to make them all the time, because you're going to make a big jar or a small jar, whatever you want. And then they last a long time in your fridge, and they're going to greatly help you with so many things. I've done so many shows on cultured vegetables. You need to listen to some of my podcasts, because a lot of people don't understand how powerful they are. And I posted a thing not too long ago on my Facebook page, and I had so many people posting that I had made them a believer. One lady posted on my Facebook page a couple days ago about how her husband got food poisoning, and he was desperate. So she'd listened to my podcast, gave him a couple spoonfuls, and with 30 minutes, it stopped. He couldn't believe it. So he became a believer. She became a believer. Another lady posted below her. She had the same thing with somebody had the colds and flus, or somebody was throwing up, I think it was. It stopped her son's, massive vomiting and made her other teenagers wake up. And so they started helping their friends with it. And it's exciting to me because it's happening with regularity. You should check out my Facebook page, Donna Schwink's Cultured Food Life, because you don't have to believe me. There's lots of people posting on there the same results that have happened to me. And so not only do these vegetables help you survive taking an antibiotic, they'll help you make you well. And they'll help you with a lot of things because it does so many things that, well, we could do a whole show about, and I've done several of them. But it's worth the effort, guys. It's worth taking it. Now, the third food, which is a part of the trilogy, is kefir. And it has been known to have several strains of bacteria species that are resistant to antibiotic. But I don't have the research available yet for this, since there's 50 plus strains in kefir. It's a lot of researching, and I'm doing a lot of research on this. And there's a few that I found that actually can't be killed by antibiotics. And then there's some bacteria that are transients in kefir, just like in kombucha and cultured vegetables too. I love kefir. It's my go-to food. It has more probiotics in it than any of the other cultured foods. It's just a fantastic food. And if you want to get a lot of probiotics back in your system fast, then you need kefir. Because with the 50 plus strains of bacteria in kefir, it's going to repopulate you the fastest of all the cultured foods. And it's fantastic. And guys, I love this stuff. I can't say enough about it. And so if you've got to take an antibiotic, load up on some kefir too. And it's just a wonderful way to help your body heal faster, be stronger, and stay stronger longer. And kefir is my food for that choice. So all of these foods, kefir, kombucha, and cultured vegetables, all have strains in them that cannot be killed by antibiotics, and they're a powerful combination. So if you have to take an antibiotic, please don't forget how very cool and resilient your body is. And don't take for granted that it wants to keep you well and it wants to help you. And you just got to give it a little help and you'll recover, you'll feel great, and you'll understand how to take care of yourself, even if you get sick. So if you remember that sickness and disease are a warning sign, they're not the enemy. And I feel such appreciation for my body because it'll give me signs all the time as to how I'm doing. It's a reflection of my thoughts, my food choices, my exercise, how I'm feeling. It gives me feedback, and that's by the way that I feel all the time. And honestly, guys, this is why I eat cultured foods, because without them, I'm a wreck. I just don't do very well because I didn't do very well before. They have really trained me to eat healthy and to pay attention to my body in a way that most people don't pay attention to their body. Most people try to eat right and exercise, but I'm a little bit of a crazy person about making sure that I get my microbes in my foods every day. I eat lots of prebiotic foods, which are fruits and vegetables and seeds and nuts that help feed my microbiome, that make them strong and make them grow. And that's another fantastic way after you've had an antibiotic. The more things you eat, there are certain foods that are prebiotics. Foods like nuts and seeds, fruits and vegetables. There's certain ones that are prebiotics. And you want to have a lot of them. And if you want to know the list of those, go to my website at culturefoodlife.com and put in the word prebiotics. And it'll show you all the ones that are going to be food for your microbes that are going to make them grow faster. So when you have these other foods, they're going to help them grow and be strong again. And the more you feed them, the stronger they get and the healthier you get. And honestly, I think that's why everybody tells you to eat your fruits and veggies, is because they feed your microbes and they make them strong and mighty. Everybody just thought it was because it was good for you. But why was it good for you? Because your microbes eat it. That's their food. So that's my show today. I hope that if you have to take a antibiotic, you'll take your probiotic foods too. Come on over to my website at culturefoodlife.com. Learn how to make everything. It's all free for you on there. And I hope that it will help keep you well for a very long time. Have a great week, everybody.